Are you honoring your life? Or are you taking your life for granted? Are you lying to the beings in your life about the condition of your mental, emotional, and physical state? Do you find yourself trapped or feeling lost? Are you living with obligations and duties? Where are you? Where are you really? Who are you really? Do you even know who you are? Do you have an inkling of who you are, maybe? What do you want out of life? Do you know what you want out of life? Do you know what would make you happy, or do you think you know what would make you happy? Are you happy? Do you want to be happy? Have you ever felt happiness? Do you know we all have time, and every day you wake up, you have an opportunity to make that day a better day. Because if you don't make that day a better day, it's going to be a messed up day. You have to create your day. Never allow anything to create your day. Because anything or anyone other than yourself that's creating your day is creating your life. So you must create your day. But when you wake up in the rising and you see another day, it's another opportunity for you to create a better life. But if you're not creating a better life, and you're going through the same old pattern that you've been going through practically most of your life, then you're not living. Not in the way that you're striving, but you are living but dead. Dead to life, dead to your true self, dead to your freedom, dead to your self-love, dead to the divine spark inside of you. You're the living dead. But it doesn't have to be that way. There's something you need to do that you're not doing it. That's why it feels like you're going round and round and round and round and round in circles. There's something you need to do that you're not doing. And believe it or not, what you need to do as a divine spark, which is truth, you need to return to truth. Because returning to truth is returning to the divine spark. You see, this is why this reality, normalized lying, is built on deception to keep you away from the divine spark inside of your being. When you live in truth and righteousness, you are living as a divine spark. You become the master in this reality because you've reconnected to truth, which is the divine spark. And that's why your life is the way that it is, because you're disconnected from the divine spark. And you're trying to return and reconnect and even remember the divine spark. Unknowingly to you, mind, but you are searching for truth. That we all know. You want truth. You want to be told the truth. Correct? Of course. Unconsciously, you are searching for the divine spark. If you don't return to truth, you won't reconnect to the divine spark. Looking for love? Well, love is truth. Truth is love. Love, truth is divine spark. So the light within is not on. And that's why you don't feel enlightened. You can't see clearly. You can't remember who you are. You can't remember where you are. You can't remember your life purpose. You can't remember anything that you need to remember to evolve and grow and free yourself. You ain't going to be able to make it on your own because you don't know how this simulation functions, and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, and you don't know how to communicate in your mind space telepathically to the system. You need to know how to communicate with the system because you're in one. And this system communicates via the mind space telepathically. It's a superpower that we have, that we can communicate back and forth to a system that hears us and can respond to us. But you need to know how to communicate that way with the system. But the simple way, the normal way, is to have a two-way conversation. A two-way conversation, you might say with your higher self or your lower self or another self. You don't ever have a conversation in your mind space where you hear a thought and you respond back to that thought, or you think, why am I thinking that thought? Or where did that thought come from? Out of nowhere. That's how the system communicates. Just out of nowhere, out of the blue, you'll just get this thought. You wasn't even thinking on those lines, but just came in like an intrusion. And this is how the system works. It's an intruder, an invader. And most beings accept and believe that thought from nowhere is their thought, but it isn't. But anyway, my being wants to really encourage you to not take your life for granted, or your lifetime for granted, or the power that you possess for granted. You are more powerful than you could ever imagine. But you're powerless right now. You're powerless because you're not living in truth and righteousness. You're powerless on a physical level. You're powerless on a metaphysical level. You're powerless on an emotional level and a mental level. On every level, you're powerless because your light is off. And you haven't returned to your divine spark. You haven't reconnected. You're in the dark without your light on. So if you want to reconnect to your divine spark, third divine spark within your being, you've got to return to truth. You've got to live in truth, speak truth. It's not easy, mind, but that's who you truly are. Divine spark, truth, love, the one. But you've forgotten that because you're so heavily distracted and so heavily indoctrinated and so heavily programmed. You've forgotten who you are. But my being wants to remind you of who you are. But you have to start thinking about that. Because if you don't think about it, you won't activate it, and it needs activating. Whatever you give attention to, you give life to. Because you're the life giver, you see. You're the battery in this reality. You're the creator, the real creator. The one that you can, think about something and think about it long and hard enough and it manifests. That's the power that you have. But maybe you don't believe that, so it doesn't happen. But don't waste your lifetime. And my being is telling you this. You need a guide. Because you're lost. Have you ever been lost in a location before and you ask someone for direction? And that being you've asked happened to live in that location is able to direct you. And you follow that direction. You're not lost anymore. You need a guide. You need someone to direct you. Because you don't know where you are. And you've forgotten who you are. You see? You need to be activated or reactivated. And my being is the one to do that for you. If you are hearing my voice, if my being has come into your life and into your mind, it's because there is an aspect of you that wants to change. There's an aspect of you that knows that something is not right with yourself and with this environment and with this reality. But you're allowing that voice that just comes from nowhere or that's always there at the forefront, telling you not to, giving you reasons why you shouldn't, putting doubt into your mind, making you think negative things about the very thing that you actually need because it doesn't want you to evolve or grow. That thing is the system. The system doesn't want you to free yourself. The system doesn't want you to return to divine spark. Because once you return to truth, the system can no longer have power over you. You become powerful and the system becomes powerless. The system doesn't want that. Can you imagine if everyone returned to divine spark? The system would crash. There wouldn't be a system, actually. So you need direction. You need guidance. And my being can help you because my being knows exactly what you need. And my being can be there for you while you reclaim what you need. Your lifetime is running out. And don't take going to bed for granted. And don't take returning home for granted, because no one knows when their time to exit the simulation is coming. So you live today like it's your last. You do the things that you've always wanted to do. You create the life that's going to bring peace. But you can't do that if you're not free. Only when you're free can you be a conscious creator. Your mind is clear. Your heart is clean. Your actions are non-violent. Your communication is non-violent. So if you are sensing that you do want to be enlightened, you do want to return to truth, your divine spark, you have lost your way, and you want to commit the rest of your life to evolving and growing and becoming a better being, now's the time to do it. Because like my being said, time for all of us is running out. So work with what you have now. You have time now. Reach out to Nama. Start taking your life path, your life purpose more seriously. Stop allowing the wardens, the dark ones, the archons, the demons, whatever you want to call them, to distract you away from returning to divine spark. return to truth and righteousness. Returning to truth and righteousness is returning to the divine spark.